Welcome back. You're watching a special edition of the show where we're speaking with the former Iranian president, Mohammad Khatami, discussing the relationship between Iran and the United States. Mr. President, you had put your name forward for the June elections to run and then fairly soon after withdrew. And there is speculation that the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, had pressured you to step down and not run for president. Is that the case?
Not at all. No way. The Supreme Leader told me that whoever would get the majority of the votes, I would work with him, and he would have very good collaboration with whoever would win. And, you know, it was my own case, my personal decision. Totally. And I never intended myself to return back to office. But I thought that people were encouraging me, particularly the youth of Iranian society. So to respond to their encouragements, I decided to run the campaign. But then I found that some of our friends who are close to our ideas, if not quite close, but they are close to some extent. So not to have the divergence of votes, I decided to support the candidates and to have a very good, healthy election, to stay out of the campaign. And I hope that we would witness a very good, popular, healthy election in Iran, and whatever the decision might be, we would respect it.
There are a couple of reformists running, though. You have Mahdi Karoubi and the person you've supported, Mir Hossein Mousavi, running. You've backed Mr. Mousavi. But with those two running, isn't there a chance of the vote, the reformist vote, being split between them, giving a greater opportunity to Mr. Ahmadinejad to take power again?
Of course, I believe that we all would like to see a change in Iran, a major change, essential one, through democratic approaches, of course. And election is one of the best tools to realize this change in international and national policies. And naturally, I have some ideals in mind, and maybe none of them would meet the ideals that I have in mind. But I think at least some part of it may be realized to have the change that I just referred to in favor of the region, in favor of my own country. So I would do my utmost effort that Mr. Mousavi and Mr. Karoubi, my close friends, would be able to manage the situation in a way that they would not have the divergence of votes, and I would do whatever I can to do so. And I hope that the majority would be in favor of the ones who I am supporting and I am respecting. But the important matter is that people would attend and participate in the election, particularly the youth, and I would do my utmost effort to have a very good election.
The new Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has wanted Washington to make Iran its #1 priority. He wants to put a lot of pressure on. Do you think the new administration will bow to that pressure and put more force onto Iran for change?
It's been more than 60 years that the most difficult problem in our region is Israel and their improper policies in the region. And if we would like to find a solution to this big problem, I think we have to give the first priority to solve the problem of the Palestinian people. And I think now the new Israel cabinet administration, they are very extreme right-wing politicians. And I think that their extreme stances can and would be able to make some changes in the Americans' approach in favor of the reformists, let's say, in Israel. I think we should not that much listen to those harsh words and rhetorics of the extreme right-wing Israeli administration. And I think, I hope the Americans would be wise enough to realize that the improper policies of the Israelis have contributed to the complication of the problem in Palestine.
Following the attacks by Israel on Gaza recently and the fragmentation of the West Bank, following the situation deteriorating, many believe the two-state solution has gone. In your opinion, is there still a chance for that kind of resolution?
What happened in Gaza was a terrible disaster that we witnessed. And of course, the public opinion, I believe, they are very sensitive toward the issue in Gaza. But we expected that the formal policies of countries would also support the people who have been suppressed there and be sensitive against the Israelis' policies toward the Palestinian people. I believe what can contribute to a good solution in the Middle East is that to have a just approach and just solution. We have had many roadmaps and resolutions and solutions and proposals, but none of them worked. As I stated, 4 million Palestinians are living outside their homeland. Some of them are living in the camps. They are born in the camps. They are growing up in the camps, and they die in the camps. And now a state occupying their homeland would not give them their right to go back to their homeland or to decide about their own destiny. So until we have such condition, we would not be able to solve the situation in Palestine.
The US President Barack Obama has pledged to withdraw troops from Iraq by next year. What impact is that likely to have on the border with Iran? Are you fearing any kind of instability because of that US troop withdrawal?
Of course, Saddam's regime, it was removed, and we really welcomed this event. But when they occupied Iraq, we are not in favor of the occupation of this country. We believe we could have some other solutions with less payoff for the Americans and for the people in the region. I believe that Iraqi people are able to maintain the security and their own security. And of course, the people and the governments in the region should assist them. Of course, if they have enough of potentials and capacity, they would be able to run their own country. There shouldn't be any intervention in Iraq, and we should support the central government. Then they would be able to have a very secure country, and there wouldn't be any country, I believe. Of course, the neighboring countries should feel responsible toward this country. I hope that they would really feel responsible, and we would see a very safe, free, developed, democratic Iraq, which is not occupied anymore.
Now, in contrast, a lot of people say Iran has changed since your 8-term office, which was known as the period of the Tehran Spring. That all your efforts to reform and open up the society have been wiped away. There's now censorship, there's human rights abuses. Do you see the situation improving? Do you see the people's demands for greater reform and openness taking place in the near future?
Maybe I cannot agree with all the compliments you had toward my term in office as president. Iran is paving its own way. I had my own policies during my term in office as president. Some other presidents may have different policies. But what I state here is that Iranian nation, it's been more than a century that we are craving for freedom against dictatorship, independence against dependence, and development against hindrance. And we would like to realize all these three aims that would be compatible with our identity, which is mostly religious. So we have experienced a new event, how we can have a religion and a believer, and to preserve the culture, and also to have freedom, independence, and development. That's what we have been looking for. And whoever is getting along with these requirements, for sure, they would realize it very soon. And if they are against these requests, national requests, people in Iran would pave their own way, but they have to pay a heavy price, and maybe it would be realized a bit later, but it is quite clear.
In a nutshell then, considering you've said it's been more than a century, a desire for freedom, in a nutshell, are Iranians better off or worse off since the revolution?
The Islamic Revolution was a great event in our lifestyle. It was a popular revolution, a national one, and against a regime that was receiving the full support of alien countries, and we didn't have any freedom and any development. An Islamic revolution with these mottos that I stated that we used to have for the past 1 century, they won and they were victorious in the revolution, and we always intended to have this independence and freedom, which is the historical demand of the Iranian nation, and also to be compatible with the religious identity of the nation. That was why we had the Islamic Revolution. Now we see these foundations in our constitution. The important matter is that we have to realize the aims that we have been looking for in our revolution. I think it was a great development, the Islamic Revolution, and it made a great change in people's life. Of course, the long-term objectives requires patience to get realized.
President Khatami, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for your attention and for this interview.
And thank you for watching. That's it from our special edition of the show. Don't forget you can send us emails to riz@aljazeera.net. We look forward to hearing from you. But from me and the team, for now it's goodbye.